At first glance, Jump Force seems to be everything one would want from a giant anime crossover game. You have a bunch of shonen characters appearing in our world fighting together and against each other to create this absurd matchup. It's something out of a fanfiction writer's dream, and yet despite the flashy visuals and decently sized roster, it's a game that's shallower than a filler episode in Naruto. Jump Force tries to gather together characters from different universes into one spot, and so as you can imagine, the setup for the story isn't the best written. I think that's something that should be expected, or at least the story isn't going to be as grounded as something that takes place solely within one of the shonen anime series. Jump Force's story has one crazy villain trying to combine all the realities of these anime into one, including our own reality, all to become the king of everything. This has characters from all across the Shonen Jump universe, including your own custom character, suddenly appearing in our own world and other famous anime locations to fight the forces trying to control the universe. It's a pretty bare-bones story that can easily be seen as an excuse for these characters to sort of interact. The real fun and enjoyment out of the stories and crossovers usually comes from the interaction between characters that would otherwise never meet. It's awesome to see characters like Luffy and Goku or Midoriya and Boruto meet, but their dialogue interactions don't really feel fleshed out. There's jokes or little experience interactions that could easily be shared between some of these characters, and yet they're sort of passed over in this game. In what's supposed to be a celebration of all these characters, they instead feel rushed. I feel like the interactions could have gone further beyond than just, hey, I'm a good guy and so are you, let's fight the bad guy, okay? Jump Force is a 3-on-3 tag team fighting game encompassing years of anime characters across over 10 franchises. One Piece, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, My Hero Academia, Bleach, and even Yu-Gi-Oh! Are just some of the series you'll be able to experience in Jump Force. Even though this is technically a 3-on-3 fighting game, it feels a bit more like a single character just because the entire team shares one health bar. Using a combination of light and heavy attacks along with 4 special attacks that take up your charging gauge, you unleash your string of attacks in the hopes that your opponent won't parry or counter them. Light attacks can spring into an auto combo, while a heavy attack is slower but deals a hefty punch. Of course, as the person getting attacked, you also have the tools at your disposal to dodge and counter just about everything thrown at you. So long as you have the timing and skill, you can break out of almost anyone just trying to button mash an auto combo over and over again. In this sense, Jump Force is a simple fighter with a very friendly approach to any newcomers of the genre. Likewise, for any skilled fighters out there, you can quickly learn to punish those that just spam the same attacks over and over again. When you do have 2 highly skilled players, it almost becomes like a cinematic rock paper scissors game as you wait for someone to miss their counter. The first few hours of these fights are a lot of fun. The animations and the crazy particle effects throughout the fights feel like a fireworks show. Admittedly though, it does get a bit stale after that, as the simplicity of the fighting mechanics don't really get all that deep beyond those rock paper scissors matches. If you're playing against CPUs, the fights never really get all that exciting, but if you have a human player, whether it's local or online, those matches are the most fun points for Jump Force. Outside of the first few hours of playing against a human character, there's not much else to really invest in besides just further customizing your character with the money you earn. However, not really being invested into the fighting mechanics of the game in itself really deterred me from really wanting to further customize my character. Jump Force somehow manages to look amazing and at times pretty ugly at the same time. The push for a more 3D look this time looks great, but perhaps a bit more polishing should have been done so that outside of the fighting animations, things don't look so dead. Story cutscenes look like they were badly animated using keyframing on the position of the character models. Their eyes appear lifeless, almost like a sticker was slapped onto a character's face whenever they spoke any dialogue. I mean, some of these scenes look like someone just made a bad animation using Unreal Engine, only except an entire game studio worked on this and it still looks like this. The performance also lacks consistency across platforms. On the Xbox One X, the game looks to run at 4K native resolution, while it goes for an upscaled 4K on PS4 Pro. On the base consoles, that changes to 1080p on the PS4 Pro and what looks like dynamic 1080p on the Xbox One. The frame rates across all the platforms varies too. While all of them target 30 frames per second, I saw drops on pretty much every single platform, including the One X. These drops happen more consistently on the base consoles, with the Xbox One being the worst one by far. Very much like my thoughts on the visuals, the audio design throughout Jump Force just seems all over the place. Characters and fights seem well voiced, they each have their own sort of reaction to attacks, and that's great. Everything else though is just bad. Cutscenes are only badly animated, but they're not even fully voiced, and when there is some sort of voice work in there, the lip sync just seems off, even in Japanese. This ends up creating these boring and quiet cutscenes that just drag the story down. You would think that with this being a big celebration of the characters in the anime series, you'd get some sort of solid voice work at least from the Japanese cast of the anime, or the catchy music from the anime, but instead, it's all very lacking. Playing through the story, I was pretty much forcing myself to finish the 12-hour campaign, and I'm just glad it's over. Ultimately, Jump Force is a dazzling fireworks show that quickly loses its magic within the opening act. The particle effects, fighting animations, and the roster of characters is awesome, but outside of the initial wow of seeing all these characters fight, I began to grow tired of the game. Sure, it looks pretty, but take a closer look and you'll find badly animated characters, dry acting in cutscenes, and lifeless eyes on just about everyone. The gameplay is enjoyable for a few hours, but its shallow mechanics quickly dry up with nothing else besides it. It somehow manages to feel worse than the last entry in the series. Like a lot of the early DCU movies, it's awesome to see these characters on screen together, however, it was incredibly lackluster to see how it was executed. In the end, Jump Force is a game that relies on the character roster to catch your attention, but lacks any substance beyond that. Don't buy this game. Use your $60 to go get a Shonen Jump online subscription instead. That'd be cheaper and a better way to celebrate the series at least. I give Jump Force on PC, Xbox One, and PS4 a 5 out of 10. Thank you all very much for watching my review. If you enjoyed it, then click the subscribe button to check out my new reviews every single week. You can also find my Discord server and Patreon links in the description down below. Hope you all have a great day, and keep on gaming.